singing in the rain. What a glorious feeling, I'm happy again. What philosophy do you live by and why? Well, I live by the simple philosophy, and this is something most people say but don't do. It's treat others as you would like to be treated. What makes you nervous? What makes me nervous? I don't know. Snakes make me nervous. Spiders make me nervous. When I don't know what people's intentions are, it makes me nervous. When you're saying one thing but you're doing something else, it makes me nervous. And what I do when I'm nervous is I step away from that situation. Simple as, because I don't like feeling nervous. Now, if there's other things that make me nervous that I attack full on, I don't like speaking in public, but I attack that full on because I have a YouTube channel and I have to have seminars and things like that. I attack it because it's something I have to practice on. What's the worst chat-up line you've ever had? On Facebook. Now people, Facebook is not a dating site. Stop inboxing people and asking them, hey girl, hey. But the worst pickup lines I got is when people email me and they're like, oh, I'm your uncle. And I'm like, okay, hi uncle, because in Gambia it's quite usual. If someone's older than you, they're your auntie. If they're older than you and they're men, they're your uncle. So you call them uncle and auntie out of respect. But when someone emails you and says, I'm your uncle, and then in the next line that follows, they're like, so I want to get to know you. I'm like, who are you talking to? The respect is gone. So worst chat-up lines is people inboxing me on Facebook and DMing me on Instagram. Eggplant Friday is not a thing. Stop it. Stop it now. Do you go for looks or personality? My whole life I've tried to mix it up with looks and personality, but I've dated a lot of ugly people. Now, looking back on it, I'm like, I must be going for personality, but then I think about it and their personalities were not even on par. So what is wrong with me? You don't have the looks, you don't have the personality, and I dated you still. I like challenges in life. I like fixing people. So now looking back, I'm like, no, I would never. I look at my exes and I'm like, oh God, did I really? Now my exes would probably stalk me on YouTube, are thinking, you. Okay, so that's it. I would like to say I go for personality, and if you have the looks, that's a bonus. My second cousin, Wude Baji, at Worldwide Wude on Instagram says, who is your idol and role model? Obviously, as I've mentioned previously, my mother and my grandmother are two of my biggest idols and two of my biggest. They are women who can take 0 and make it into 10,000, into 1 million. They can take nothing and make you the best meal. They can take nothing and create a business out of it. They can take nothing and create something out of it that brings happiness to people. So that is something, those are my two main role models. I know you guys probably expected me to say Oprah Winfrey or something, but my nearest, the women I see every day, working hard, doing their own thing and creating a legacy, those are my role models, and that is my grandmother and my mum. What series are you currently watching? Drip, drop, drip, drippity, drop. If you don't know what that means, you need to go and watch Empire. I'm watching Empire. Cookie is just like my mum times, oh my God, 5. I love Empire. I'm watching The Unbreakable on Netflix. I am watching Grimm. Is a series, a supernatural series. I'm watching Supernatural. I am watching Once Upon a Time. I'm watching Real Housewives of Atlanta. Don't kill me, don't judge me. They're so entertaining. Portia, amazing hair. I watch it to I don't know, pastime. I watch Mob Wives as well because those women are nuts, but they're funny. They are so funny. Favorite African dish. We all know I don't have just one favorite African dish. I have like 10 favorite African dishes. I like domoda, I like benaching, I like supakanja, I like ebe, I like chiwiduti, akong. I like all of this stuff. I can't pick just one. I love food. I'd be so fat if I didn't go to the gym. Let's see. Are you team black and gold? No, wait, gold and white or black and blue? I'm one of the few people that can see both colors, so I'm not bothered. If it pops up on my timeline, sometimes it's gold and white, sometimes it's blue and black. no problem. So I play for both teams. Back to my Minaj. What makeup brand is your favorite? I love MAC. Like, I love MAC in Black Opal, and I love Sleek as well. Those three just are, no. I also like Ben Nye. Their banana powder seems a little bit yellow on me, but that's what I'm wearing today, if you can't tell. So I love Ben Nye, Sleek, Black Opal, and MAC is number one, definitely. If you were offered a trip to Dubai with your celebrity crush for a week, or 90,000, which one would I choose? I pick 90,000. Celebrityism comes and goes, but 90,000 in my bank account will be very, very appreciated. If you want to make a donation, the link is in the bar below. Not my bank account. Yeah, I would pick 90,000. Why? Well, who's a celebrity that I wouldn't pay? If I wouldn't pay 90,000 to see you as a celebrity, I'd rather take the money. Then I can be my own celebrity. Okay, Trendy Makeover said, who and what inspired you to be making wigs or beauty in general? Now, again, this is so difficult to answer. I think this requires like a separate video, but in short, if I just condense it to one thing, I think I came back to Sweden from the UK where I had my home, I had a nice flat, I had a car, I had a good job, I had everything, and I left all of that and I came to Sweden and I didn't have a job here. There was only one company I wanted to work for, as I mentioned in my first video back. And my mom was just like, oh, I really love your wigs, you do them with such care and such diligence, why don't you start creating them and selling them? I was like, who would buy wigs from me? She was like, but they look great. And at that time, every time I went out in Stockholm, people would ask me where I did my weave, thinking that my wig was a weave. And my mom just said one evening, let's start a Facebook page and see how it goes. So we started it, and we had about like 20 followers for several months. Then people started telling their friends, and it started growing, and we are where we are now. Thanks to you guys, my clients, my customers, anybody that has contacted me over the last year and a half, thank you so much for your support. But most importantly, thank you to my mom who pushed me. I was not happy about it. I was like, who's gonna watch my Facebook page? Who is interested in wigs I'm selling? And we just started it, and from one wig we sold, used the money, bought in more hair, sold those, you know, it kept rolling. But the reason why I even started making wigs before I came to Sweden was I had a bad experience with my edges. A woman, a cut above the rest is called in Bristol. Horrible. She was having a really bad day. I brought her a picture and expensive hair that I wanted to be weaved into that. I was supposed to go out in the evening to meet my partner's parents, and she butchered my hair. When I left there, I looked like buckwheat. I looked like someone had dipped me into a bowl full of eggs, and my hair had stiffened. My edges were crying out for help. I looked like I had a facelift, like my face was like this, seriously. And I went home, and within a couple of days my hair started falling off because it was so tight. By the time I cut off my weave, I had lost so much hair that I could not leave my edges open. It was all bald. So that's when I started buying wigs, and then I realized the wigs on the market are horrible. So I had to start creating them myself. So I contacted people who sold virgin hair, purchased some, and started experimenting. That's how I started. Sometimes people do you wrong and think that, you know, you're gonna fall, but you get inspiration from it and you keep it moving forward. Simple. It's Amina Job on Facebook. Now I love her. She's treasured child on Instagram. You spoke about your move back to Sweden in one of your videos. How did you gather the courage to leave behind all that you had established in the UK to start all over again back home? I don't know if it's courage. I think people see it as courage, but I think for me, now this is a quote from Ian Levansant. She was on the Oprah Winfrey Show like a couple of years back, and she was saying that the universe sends you messages, and these messages seem like pebbles being dropped, tiny pebbles being dropped on your head. And you're just like, yeah, pebbles. But you don't listen, and you keep on walking. And all of a sudden, a boulder hits you on the head, and you're like, whoa, was not expecting that. But if you look back, you've already been given a lot of indication as to where your move should be. Now, a year before I moved to Sweden, I had already had in my heart that I knew I should come back home. I miss my mother, I miss my brothers. It was a time to come back home, but obviously I just kept trudging on. And another factor that was in me in Bristol is I had a lot of people around me that I considered my friends at that point, that I would literally do anything for. But they were not people of substance. I can't even say they're good people now. When I look back on it, I was in a not so positive relationship where I wasn't in love, but I was just going on with the emotions of it all. But when you have so many people around you with their own issues and they have so much emotional noise going on, you lose track on what you need to do and what you need to achieve in your life. I've been here since 2013 June, and what I've achieved in this short amount of time, mashallah, I would have never been able to achieve back home in Bristol, because the people I left behind there, I can't even see major changes in their life anyway. So that says to me, it was the best decision for me to make. I still have one great friend in Bristol, Cassie. I have my goddaughter in Bristol and I love them immensely. But they are the only thing that has me tied to Bristol in this lifetime. So it's not about courage, it's just about reading the signs of what is right for you. If you don't, sometimes you're standing at a cliff and you're like, I'm gonna jump, I'm gonna jump, I'm gonna jump. But then there's half of you thinking, but what if I fall? I'm gonna be like pancake on the sidewalk. But then there's another part that you don't even, it's not part of you, but it's coming from somewhere bigger than you, telling you, but what if you fly? Lovely client Fiona Mwaka said, my question is, how and when did you start on doing hair and weaves, and why did you start? And also, how do you think your life will be 5 years from now, and do you want to have family and kids one day? I have been doing, my mom is a hairdresser in Sweden. She's had 2 salons going in Stockholm, and she's the one that got me in the path of doing braids, doing hair in general. So I've always had a affinity of doing hair. I've always been interested in making people feel good about themselves and be beautiful, whatever the case is behind it. So I've been doing hair since I was about 12 years old. About the wigs, that started in 2012 or 2011. Do you want to have a family and kids one day? I think my mom laughed when she read this question, because the thing is, ever since I was a child, I've never actually said I wanted to have kids. I've just said maybe I might adopt. But no, it's not a priority of mine to have a standard family, mama, papa, barn, like mother, father, children in a picket fence and all that stuff. No, I'm driven by something else in life. My friend, one of the parents to my goddaughter, Cassie, wrote, my question is, when are you moving back to the UK to set up a hair and beauty business? Right now, the way I see my future, and I could be wrong, I will never move back to the UK. I will never live in the UK again. I'll come and visit, but unless my company becomes really big and I open several shops around the world, I probably will never ever move to the UK again. But thanks for asking. Watagwan Gyal, Adam Baji, who and what inspired you to start making YouTube? YouTube just seemed like a fun thing. I didn't even know how. It was just a fun thing to do. And then when I came to Sweden, like I said before, some of my clients wanted me to do videos to show them how their wigs would look like when they receive it, so I started doing them as well. What is your favorite color? Now, believe it or not, I am really girly girl when it comes to colors. I love pink. My good co-worker, ex-co-worker in the UK asks, have you considered making wigs or toupees for bald men? I have never thought about making wigs for men, but maybe in the future that may happen. What are the main differences between living in England and Sweden? I think the main differences are very minuscule. People say living in Sweden is very expensive. I don't personally believe that. The main difference is I have my family here. Favorite food after Gambian food? I like a proper Sunday roast. Sherry Papa Jibicham. What is the best way to take care of wigs? The best way to take care of wigs is to treat it as a very expensive investment. Don't buy wigs for 7,000, 8,000, and then when you come home in the evening, you just grab it and chuck it on the sofa or throw it on your bed or on the floor, or treat them as the very expensive investment that they are. And that means washing it when it's time to wash, hanging it up very carefully so it dries and doesn't have any smells, putting the oils in. When you're straightening it, you use heat protecting. When you're doing it curly, you make sure you put some argan oil in. Charity on Facebook asks, my hair falls out when I use weaves for over 3 months. How do I manage this? I love my hair, but I also need to have weave. What are some best hair care products that you can recommend? Charity, if you are losing hair after having your weave in for 3 months, there's quite a few issues with that. Firstly, you shouldn't have a weave in for more than a month and a half, 2 months maximum. 3 months you're overdoing it and you're over stressing your hair. You have a natural, your hair kind of sheds naturally. So when you have a weave for that long, your hair is shedding naturally and is matting up. Don't do that. Try and avoid it. If you can do it every other month, then great, do that. But also, if you're losing hair after your weaves, then the person doing your hair needs to not be so tight with her braids, because tension and traction is the enemy of your braids. I'm telling you. Try and tell them to use less of a, try to use a loose hand, you know? Be nice to the hair, because you can't pull at it and manipulate it and then put the weave on and forget about it. Also, when you have the weave, you have to get a bottle that has a nozzle at the top, mix your favorite oils and go in between your hair and moisturize your scalp still. So don't forget about it. Just because it's a protective style doesn't mean that the person doing it for you is that knowledgeable. So do some research as to who is the best person to do it and tell them to chill with the pulling, okay? Thelma Honor, how do you keep your wigs so bouncy and fresh looking? As back to the question on if you make an investment, you take care of what you've invested in. I take care of my wigs very well. I have a wig head. I have several wig heads that I put my wigs on. I make sure every day when I come home, I comb out any kinks I have in the hair. If I'm gonna have it curl, I'll curl it night time. I put heat protecting. I wash it. I don't wash it too often because that will just strip the hair of its natural oils that I've already put in. But I keep them looking natural and bouncy because I genuinely have a love affair with hair. I love hair. So it comes out that you have to take care of it. I absolutely adore this hair. But yeah, that's how I keep my wigs looking fresh and bouncy. Okay, last question. What would we be surprised to know about you? There's many things you'd be surprised to know about me, to be frank. But I think people make a judgment about me before meeting me. And when they meet me, it's, you know, it's a different story. I'm still a nice person. I'm very friendly. I love people. I genuinely love people. And when people are good to me back, it's like Christmas. I just am the biggest geek you probably will meet. I have a lot of information about many random things in life, so I can probably run a conversation with you about whatever your favorite thing is. I love Harry Potter books and I love dystopian novels. I love to read. But I'm a geek and I love musicals. So if you don't know, I love musicals. I die for musicals. If I'm happy, I'm singing musicals. If I'm sad, I'm singing musicals. I love The Wizard of Oz. I love Singing in the Rain. I love Flashdance. I love everything. I love The Commitments. I love old movies with lots of music in it and a lot of like choreographed dances that I do at home. If you know me, you'll know I'm constantly singing or humming something. Just if your ears start to bleed, obviously, don't blame me. I'll play something for you. I feel pretty, oh so pretty. I feel pretty and witty and bright, and I pity any girl who is me today.